If I can prove that she's completely wrong, wouldn't that discredit her from everything else? And somebody goes, it's on video. Charlie, during an interview, you see Charlie saying, my friend and mentor, they don't want me to be elected as governor. I'm not worried one bit. I don't fret over none of this. I'm just me. I'll continue to move in integrity and honesty. The people elect me, I'll do the best job I can for 4 years and hopefully get out of it. I don't want to do 8. I want to be a grandpa. I've not told this to anybody, but I'm going to tell y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode 89 today, and we're excited to have a sit-down episode with Victor Marx. As you can see, we're on a different set than usual. We've been graciously invited to come out and enjoy some range time and also be able to sit down and answer some questions that we think are very important for people out there to hear answers to. And we'll open it up with this, with saying, we're not here for accusations. We're simply here to understand what's true, what's not, and what can actually be proven. We're going to ask you some questions, and the first one to open us out this morning is going to be this. There are a number of serious allegations circulating right now, from financial misconduct to criminal-level claims. Before we get into specifics, what do you say to people who believe you are fundamentally not who you say that you are?
Well, everybody has a right to their opinion. I'd say learn to differentiate between an assumption and fact, because the politicking world, allegations, lies, websites are put up in order to diminish your best possibility of winning. And that's what they call dirty politics. The other thing I would tell folks is, if you hear something, before just taking it at face value, because anybody can lie. Anybody can, it's common. Review my history. I am an open book. That's what's been the craziest thing, listening to people. My wife and I just look at each other and go, it's in our movie, or there's a video, or, we haven't hit anything. So that's what I tell folks. Be honest, intellectually honest about, finding out the truth.
As many out there listening know, Candace Owens has made a series of claims about you, sir, ranging from your international operations to even weapons-related allegations. What do you believe you are actually being accused of at the core, and what's your direct response?
Well, I think because in the political world, no one can come against my policy. All they're trying to do is attack my reputation, which people can say whatever they want. It's the character that doesn't move, who I am, who I really am. There's so many allegations on all kind of stuff. I haven't even watched or listened to everything Candace put out, but I listened to enough of it, or somebody would say, hey, and I just go, this is insane.
So a big question that I think a lot of people want an answer to is, she claims on one of her most recent episodes that there was a major falling out. This is a direct quote from her.
Charlie Kirk stopped speaking to Victor Marx entirely. Their relationship, unfollowed each other. I've spoken to several people about this. They didn't know what the falling out was about, but there was a very big falling out between Charlie and Victor Marx.
A major falling out between you and Charlie Kirk, especially after reports that you mutually unfollowed each other on social media. Did you two have a genuine falling out, or is that being misunderstood?
So, here's my question back. If I can prove that she's completely wrong, wouldn't that discredit her from everything else? That's the point I'm trying to make. When people make allegations, if I take the time to actually disprove them, they should be discredited. It's like, we should be done with this now. So to your point in that accusation that we had a falling out and we unfollowed, do you have access to the internet right now?
Yes, sir.
Go to Instagram if you would for me while we're sitting here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not connected actually. Is there a Wi-Fi for me to get on?
I don't know. Are you on Instagram?
I see ATP guests. Does anybody have the password?
Roger, can you get Dan? He should have it, or the media team. Because we're gonna prove that absolutely is false.
Okay.
Right now.
So there's no falling out.
No, none. But I'm gonna prove it because I can say no. But
Sure.
hey, Dan, can you give them access, or do you have a phone that has access to Instagram right now?
Okay.
Go there for me, and go to Charlie Kirk, his Instagram. So the reason why this is unpatently false is one, we never unfollowed each other. If somebody took the time to go to Instagram, simply look under his followers and see if I'm still in there.
Okay.
If I'm not, then okay, maybe she has a point. If I'm still in there, it kills everything else. She's discredited. And it just means someone was so lazy, they couldn't even look that up. People want deep, in-depth, dark, stuff about me. You got to prove that I'm like, if something this basic and simple is wrong, the conversation's over. Are you on yet?
I'm on mine, but I'm not.
So something that
Just go to
Candace,
Charlie.
something that Candace would probably refute or rebuttal with is that Erica has access and the TPUSA team has access. What would you say if that was brought up? Let's say that Candace watches this and she says, oh, well, they have access to his social medias. They refollowed Victor Marx. What would you say if that came up? If she said that or alleged that?
Well, then she should have put that in an original allegation. That's just spitting in the wind. She said we unfollowed each other. It's a fact. It's a complete lie.
Okay. While they're pulling that up, let's go ahead and go to the next question. Unless you already have it pulled up. So we can look at this and we'll show it to the camera as well. This is on Charlie Kirk, 1776. He is, in fact, following Victor Marx.
Bingo.
So, to your point, should this not discredit somebody?
You got to be discredited if you say something and it's not true. That's why I'm running a full campaign for governor. I don't have time to rabbit trail all these accusations. It's like if I prove somebody wrong on a point, then they're discredited and let's be done.
The next question is a little weightier, and we all, in the wake of Charlie's tragic martyr, I'm sure that we feel the sensitivity approaching this topic, and I want to preface this question with that first stated. But you were reported to be one of the, if not the first person to post publicly about Charlie Kirk's death, and Candace has pointed this out.
Victor Marx was the first person who announced that Charlie went to heaven, is what he said. I'm going to show you that post right here. And
you stated that the shooter was in custody in this post, roughly within an hour after the incident. The question here is, who is your source for that information, and how were you able to post that as early as you were?
Well, first, how does she get to claim that I'm the first person to post anything? We don't know that. That's her assumption. Second is, man, I know the guys on the security team. I know the people who were there with him. And as soon as I found out, I'm following. And I think the reason why I deleted that first post, I just thought it was too quick. I was like, oh my gosh, let me just see. And it was to get people praying for Charlie because they didn't know he was dead.
Did you delete that post later?
I did. Because I'm like, man, I didn't text. I texted Erica right away once I knew. Once it was confirmed and I talked to people who were with them. I talked to the guy who was bawling. And I said, hey, y'all couldn't have stopped this. This looks like a sniper. I'm walking him through that, the trauma of it. And then I text Erica and I just said, Erica, they're not after you or the kids.
What I want to mention before we move on to the next question here is that there has been much debate here in Colorado, and most likely beyond now that Candace has entered the conversation. You've stated that you were one of Charlie's mentors, and people will be so blatant to come out and say that Charlie never said that. I have heard the recordings of Charlie saying that.
Hey everybody, it's the Charlie Kirk Show. Victor Marx, a friend of mine and a spiritual mentor.
You were his spiritual mentor. And I can see a man getting emotional in front of me talking about his friend who was murdered tragically in front of the whole world to see. So I want people to know online, whenever we're doing this interview, I'm looking at a man through tears in his eyes as he's discussing the loss of his friend. But for a little more context for the listeners, how did you meet Charlie and Erica? What was your relationship with them over time?
I met Charlie at a speaking event at a small little church in California, Southern California, where he was the main speaker, but I was asked to speak. I came in, I went before him, and it's funny because he was aggravated. He was like, who is, because I believe it was a Sunday morning. And Charlie was just throttling. I mean, he's speaking everywhere he could. And it's a small little Hispanic church, a lot of veterans. And he was friends with the pastor. He took it. And then I was asked to come in and speak before him. I was like, and they said, yeah, just do a segment. So I did. And when I was done, Charlie was stunned. He was just like, I never heard of you. And you just shared your story. And, he gave me his number. He's like, we need to stay connected. I was like, okay. And Erica was there. We took some photos. And I didn't think anything of it. I just knew Charlie was making an impact and enrolled into universities. And then we just stayed connected. And the relationship grew to where he had asked me to go on a trip with him to some universities. We were on a jet. And when we were coming back, he came up to me and goes, hey, can I sit next to you? I was like, Charlie, it's your jet. You can sit anywhere you want. And he sits down and he just goes, hey, would you be my mentor? A mentor, a mentor. I said, well, what does that mean to you? Because some people want me to mentor them so they can, I'm mentored by Victor Marx, the fastest guy. I said, I don't have time for that. He goes, well, I know you'll tell me the truth.
Take your time.
And he said, I know I can tell you anything. So I said, well, I don't mind investing my time in one percenters, and you are one. The thing about Charlie, he's way more than a friend. It feels the same pain as if he was a son. That's why navigating all this it's been challenging. And to stand up for Erica, and see people go after her. She's a widow with 2 kids. And I think the relationship I have with Charlie is the relationship Erica has with my wife. And so, yeah, our response has been different to most. And, he wrote the foreword to my book, and I think because that's what I was born into him, being a dangerous gentleman. And what I don't think people understand is he lived by that, and he died by it. I mean, y'all are going through dangerous gentlemen right now. You know what it calls men to. And I know he died doing what God called him to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a man down with his boots on for what he believes. It's still a reality going, oh, my words, my influence on him. He knew Every time he went out, he knew the risk. He had so many death threats, and that's why immediately afterwards we sent a team to help.
Candace is leading the charge on a lot of controversy, even some would say conspiracy pertaining to Charlie's death. And there's a lot of people questioning whether there's more to Charlie's death than a lone gunman narrative. What's your perspective on that?
Well, in our world, making assumptions it's dangerous. That's one of the reasons why I like Micah. Micah's like, great. People can say a lot of stuff, but, the mat doesn't lie. Shooting doesn't lie. When people talk. And I don't believe, and this is what's controversial, I believe there was more to it than just him. But I don't take it to the extent, I think he was the only person that pulled a trigger. I believe that other people had to know because of the response immediately by fellas in the audience. Ortega claimed it was him. I did it, which gave the shooter time to escape. Those are basic, fundamental facts. But do I believe that kid was the shooter? I do. Because let me tell you, you can talk ballistics or anything. It ain't hard to hit a man from that distance. I think he was trying to hit center mass, and that was about it. So ballistics prove it was a 308. Bullets do crazy things, but
30-06.
30-06. I believe that probably this guy was part of a radicalized group that had thought about this. But this is what I do know. The older fellow who got the attention and said, I did it, to give that kid time to get away, he was later arrested with child sexual abuse material on his devices. I believe the perversion in these groups, the evil that goes on, is way deeper than people imagine.
One of the next important discussions here from Candace's episode, she had an episode with Corby, the owner of Fold AR. There's a concern that's brought up about the ATF. There's a claim that the ATF put a trace on a firearm the morning of September 10th, which is the morning that we lost Charlie Kirk in 2025. And she's trying, and some are trying, to connect that to you.
Okay, that's interesting. So on September 10th, you get this email, which we are going to show, which is from the ATF, which what they are performing is something that's called an ATF trace. When they do this trace, it's because this weapon has popped up, typically always, I think, in a crime, and they're trying to trace the gun. On the morning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, which is definitely interesting, it's weird, it's just looking into the Charlie Kirk assassination and things of that nature, and then kind of this weird connection with Victor's like trying to get these guns from you in that time frame for different things. And
What do you actually know about that situation, and what can you clarify?
I know zero about it. What a reach. A weapon was stolen. You know how many weapons go missing and stolen? If there was any issue, I would have already been visited. If there was any connection. I mean, I'm taken back by the stupidity of some people to believe something so far-fetched. It's like, what? Yeah.
Were you ever an owner in Fold AR?
No. Heck no.
Never an owner. Well, a note to mention here for everyone out there for context. The ATF puts out 500,000 to 700,000 traces annually, some years exceeding 700,000 traces. That's more than 1,000 traces per day. Clearly, the Fold AR having a trace on it on this day has a more than high probability of just being coincidental.
Oh, yeah, and it was taken from a law enforcement officer. Well, I think it was a deputy sheriff. That's who had possession of it in his truck. It's just a weapon he had got.
That's the story that I heard as well. And this is what's upsetting to me, and I believe many out there that are seeking the truth, is for so many people to just say meaningless facts that cannot be tied together. Even if they have meaning and they are factual, if you can't tie them together, then what's the point in bringing them up? But let's continue on this discussion with Fold AR, because there's text messages circulating between you and Corby. Corby's actually made some of them public, and it's regarding the Fold AR. And the first question are those messages real?
Well, I haven't looked at all of them. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. I know things have been AI'd and conspired against me, so I can't tell you if they're real or not. But what I can tell you is that Corby is not a stable individual. We tried to help Corby and his wife out. I married him and his wife. Corby came here, and from the get-go, everything should be looked at the lens through Corby as someone who wants to sell weapons. That's it. He's got an engineer's mind, but no marketing common sense. And Corby is not a stable individual. That's why, look, I deal with helping people, troubled people. So I don't regret one bit trying to help them. Again, we've done marriage counseling for them. I married them when they were boyfriend, girl. My gosh. And then I tried to help him with his company. And you know what? He's the one that took advantage of us using my name and position. He made a statement, and this is how we discredit Corby, pure and simple. He said that through the sale of weapons, they donated money to the ministry. Never happened. And you know who will absolutely back that up? His wife, who was the marketing director, and a fellow named Dustin, who ran his organization. He's an ops guy. And they're like, they contacted me going, Corby is completely off the hook. What people don't understand, and again, I'd rather not make any of this public, and some things I'm keeping close to the vest, but I mean, Corby has police reports. He built a bomb to try to scare people at his school, at a high school, and went to jail for that. Then he broke into when he went to college, I think it was his first year, he broke into a National Guard outside of Texas A&M, an armory, and they caught him doing that. Look, Corby's problems, I can show you a text he sent me. He goes, my wife's leaving me, whatever. But he goes, consequences are coming. That was his threat to me.
Do you still have your full message history with him?
I have 2 phones. I don't know about the full message, but because, I mean, I deleted, blocked him because he was just peppering me with like crazy texts, manifestos.
In those messages that Corby made public, there's mention of an Israeli defense group reviewing a deal. It sounds like you were trying to help him sell his company to get out of a financial struggle that he was facing.
He also, and I'm speaking about Corby, submitted to me some text messages, which certainly go some way of proving that Victor Marx, at the very least, was in communication with Israel to purchase guns, or rather to purchase the patent for his business. Victor Marx wrote, I've tried to help you in 3 specific areas: your personal walk, your marriage, and your business. I'm still willing to help put a deal in front of you, but this is my name, my reputation, and my relationships that are on the line. The Israeli Defense Group we are connected with is ready to review the patent and possible deal. Okay, so he's connected to an Israeli Defense Group.
Who exactly is that group, or what you can disclose about that group? Are they connected or associated with the actual IDF?
Absolutely not. We were bringing several potential buyers to the table for Corby to look at. One of them was an Israeli. It was a Jewish fella, not a contractor, defense company, no connection to IDF. And they never even gotten conversations because Corby was like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, okay. He went through a phase where he was hating Jewish people. I'm like, Corby, what's going on, man? These are just people with money who might look to invest in your company. So never was there talk about 50,000 rifles. It's ridiculous.
So he asserted at some point that there were allegedly 50 rifles going to Haiti.
He's like, hey, I still got this Haiti stuff going on, and I need 50 guns to take and drop off in Haiti.
Yeah.
Can you speak into that?
Never did we make weapons to send to Haiti. I wanted to bring weapons to Haiti. Man, did I ever.
So the story of the 1,000-yard shot and the watermelon.
1,000-yard capable rifle with the watermelon was a big assertion that he made. What would you say to that rifle and wanting to shoot Jimmy Barbecue?
Well, why don't you just, like we were talking about, eat the watermelon. Just do the watermelon. Like, oh, okay, well, like shooting the head off of a person transpired into, well, I'm going to go in and execute or capture Jimmy Barbecue.
Oh my gosh. This is all just made up in his mind. Videos, the reality is, it shows me praying with Jimmy. I prayed for, it's out there. I went in and negotiated a deal with Jimmy that he would not attack any orphanages or kidnap any missionaries. It's on video in English. Tell me, no one's ever done that before. I risked my life.
Did he make you the 1,000-yard capable gun and bring it here and shoot it with you?
No.
1,000-yard capable.
Oh my, no, he doesn't have 1,000-yard capable. The most I pushed a full AR out was about 500
I don't
yards.
think he said it was a full AR. He said that he got
It was some kind of special order. So he had originally made you a gun with your stamp on it. I believe it was
that was the full AR
that was the
signature
full
series.
AR,
But he
yeah.
said that you requested a 1,000-yard capable rifle, and he already had the parts, the scope, everything laying around. So he said he assembled it. He brought it out here to you. He said that you told him that you wanted to be able to shoot somebody if they popped their head over a fence at an orphanage, shoot them in the head and get it on video. The camera, it had to be an optic that was able to record video because you wanted to be able to scare some righteousness into these people that are trying to prey on orphanages. And he said, this is his claim. He says, why don't you just do it on watermelon and just show them that you can do it and you're capable of it? How any of this story making any sense, ringing any bells?
No. If I need a 1,000-yard rifle, I've got 1,000-yard rifles. Okay, please. But second, you can't export weapons. We tried. I wanted to, but we couldn't. Had somebody promise me, logistics guy, oh, we can get it done. I have connections. I do this all over the world. I'm like, great.
And you did this for protection while you guys were there?
Yeah, weapons for protection for teams. But here's the deal: what people need to understand. I was working through the president of Haiti to get an MOU. Tons of communication back and forth. They were saying, please help protect this orphanage. And so everything was done legally. But this president went cold on me in flight there to Haiti, which we had to then work with the police, the local police. It was horrible.
I have but one question left from my end on Corby.
Yeah.
He introduces his original reason for going into business, create full AR, was to put a school resource backpack on every school resource officer in America. So they're not walking around with AR-15s, but essentially you got this collapsible AR you could deploy in 8 to 10 seconds, and then you're on target. Were you part of that endeavor?
I came into it after he had done it. He pitched me on it, and I thought, this is brilliant. Because back when school shootings were going on, I thought that's a great way for a resource officer to carry a backpack, have to walk around strapped. I believed in it so much that our organization donated money to put these in one of the school districts in Texas. It's all documented. There's, press release. I was hoping that people would catch that vision because I thought it was a great idea. When I realized, man, this fella Corby's not in this for the purest reasons, is when I said, Corby, if your greatest passion is to get these weapons in the hands of resource officers, if I help you sell your company and you make, whether it's large sum or monthly, why don't you just self-fund? You can make them at the cheapest level. You self-fund, take part of your profit, and then start giving them out to, he said he wouldn't do it.
Did you say why?
Yeah, he didn't want to spend the money. And I just went, what the hell, man? That's when I went, oh, okay. That was the definitive moment for us. I go, this guy's in it for money. He's now using, and I realized that the murder of children in school shootings to try to profit from it. It ain't this purest deal he's putting out. I'm like, yeah, no way.
So one of the biggest controversies that Corby has presented here that Candace has latched onto, and there's a lot of questions circulating. We see the picture painted by Corby and by you, and this is what you are on alignment with. and that is that he showed up with a lot of issues and struggles he was going through.
Yeah.
Struggling with his marriage, struggling with his business, struggling with his finances. And he showed up, and you and your wife tried to do what you could to help them.
Yeah.
And what's been talked about and circulating is a retooling prayer.
Yeah.
Mr. Mark then performed what he described as a retooling prayer.
So for those who are listening and maybe don't understand what that is, could you just explain what is a retooling prayer? And is it something concerning? Is it something inappropriate? Or how would you describe it?
Well, I would say it's called prayer. It's just praying for people. I actually believe prayer works. And we call it retooling prayer because it's specific to helping what I would call break oppression on people's lives. I believe in good and evil. I believe in angels and demons. Nobody refutes that. But I believe that if we take the authority of Christ as outlined in the Bible and pray specifically, Jesus said, you have not because you ask not. And people get, I think it's true. It's, there are people in this room I've prayed for with the retooling prayer. There are people in the Pentagon, generals, in some of the most key positions of our military that I've prayed for. I pray for kids who are incarcerated, celebrities. It's just a prayer that people tend to get relief on. And I don't know, that's all there is to it, which I think at this point, we have to be very aware, is this a form of Christian prosecution? People want to hush Christians up. It's like, what? Why would anybody come against somebody praying? Nothing bad has ever happened.
I think that it's been framed as some type of a cult-type prayer or activity. I think that's very much the intent in the frame that it's been attempted to put in, but different denominations pray differently, and we have a freedom of religion in this country, and we have every right to practice and to pray how we're convicted to. I think that something that's really important that I remember hearing you state is that you encouraged Corby to record that prayer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
you would normally encourage people to record
I
that
always
prayer,
do.
which to me speaks to the openness behind it, and it's nothing done in secret or nothing that's being hidden. But one thing that Corby did state, there's two questions here that Corby directly stated on Candace's podcast that I want to make sure to clarify with you, because these are important. These hit home for me, and I think they'll hit home for a lot of men that are out there, even some men out there that could be struggling even right here, right now, today as they listen to this. Corby shared that he was struggling with suicidal thoughts on Candace's podcast when he was being interviewed. And he mentioned that he sent you a text and that you text him back.
He didn't call you. I would just think that if somebody texted me and said, hey, I'm in a parking lot and I'm thinking about killing myself, my instinct would be to call, not send a text.
Was your communication with him as he was struggling primarily through text as he discussed on Candace, or would you typically give him a call if he was in a moment of crisis, if he was really going through it? What was the way that you thought was best to try to help him?
Typically I would talk to someone on the phone. If somebody's struggling, look, I've done more suicide interventions than I'd care to share. The Department of Defense engaged me to speak at military bases, which I've done tons again and again to help with resiliency and counter suicide because the suicide rate is so high, not only for veterans, but active duty. It's the same in first responders. If somebody indicates they're wanting to hurt themselves, I'd pick up the phone and go, hey, what's going on? Try to shake them loose, find out where they are, or, say, hey, man, do what I did a long time ago. Drive yourself to the hospital and just walk in the ER, have the courage and say, I'm having bad thoughts and I don't want to act on them, and get help. That's my typical approach.
Corby said that he was sharing with you his plans to collect on an insurance policy, and you convinced him otherwise, saying that lawyers always find a way out. But that he also mentioned that you had a way to get him knocked off and transplant him to another country.
And the next message is, well, I can just have you disappeared. I can have you knocked off. I can have you knocked off or disappeared to a banana plantation in South America.
What would be your response to that?
I don't know, it sounds kind of wild. First part doesn't, but yeah, well, I have told people a number of times, dude, you and yourself, it's going to affect your family. Your insurance policy will not work. Think this through, because I've been there.
The last question here, as we're going to end out on Corby, is he said that you said in the video that you put out that you helped pay for Corby's counseling. Adamantly, Corby publicly stated on Candace's podcast that you did not pay for his counseling. He paid for it.
I'd already set up intensive counseling, and Victor knew about it. I think he said that he paid for the counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Did not. I paid all of it. It was $13,000 with the counseling in the room, but I don't know why he said that he paid for it. He didn't.
Can you clarify what support, if any, was provided?
Yeah, Corby's here. He stayed in Colorado. We're communicating with his wife, and he's like, there's a counseling course that my brother went to that really helped him. And it's intervention. He says, I think it was 2 weeks long. And he goes, I just don't have the money to do it. Corby was sleeping in his truck at times, and then I think he got a little bed and breakfast deal. But, and I'm like, he goes, I just want my wife to come out here. And she did not want to. She's like, hey, he is not stable. It's the stuff she was telling me, that's between them, but I'm telling you, not stable. Well, he convinced her. He convinced her to come out. And she said she would, but they didn't have the money. So what I did, I didn't want to make him feel like I'm giving him a handout. Man, keep your dignity. I said, how much is it? He told me. I said, okay, I'll buy X amount of rifles so y'all can take the money and pay for your counseling. It's exactly what happened. I bought rifles I didn't need, but I did it so they could have the money to go counseling. And his wife will absolutely tell you that. She goes, I remember. I was there in Texas, took the order. Dustin knows the same thing. They were having trouble with production because of cash flow and all this type of stuff. I said, well, man, just take the money, pay for your counseling, go to it. And they did.
Okay, this last question to end out for now, the Candace segment and the questions and controversy that's come up with Candace's podcast. She makes statements that are really boldly insinuating that you are radically pro-Israel.
He's quite defensive about Israel, is what I would say. This person kind of did some one-off comment about Israel, and he met a different Victor Marx, is what I would say, who was like, what if I told you my dad's Jewish, and don't ever say that ever again.
What's your stance on this?
One, it's just her opinion. I'm pro-people. I've helped kids all around the world, Muslim, Jewish, Christian. It doesn't matter to me. She's trying to paint me in some corner that I'm pro-life. I'm pro-children. I helped over 6,000 children who are affected by Hamas. But then I didn't just stay there. Man, we crossed over into Palestinian-controlled areas. We helped children from Gaza who was in the hospital. She can pay me any way she wants. But this extreme, I don't hate Israeli people. I don't like all of them. I'm not a super huge fan of some of their political and governmental positions because I was there right after the attack. I saw personally. I think questions have to be answered about a delay, a 6-hour delay. And again, I think they'll sort that all out. But I'm for what's right. And helping children and women is always right.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Moving into a different direction here, for those that don't know that are listening, Victor Marx, you're running for governor here in Colorado, and these are some of the important questions to be answered here. Circulating online, there's a couple of websites and platforms that have positioned themselves against you and have done as much as they can possibly do and continue to do to try to discredit you. One accusation that continues to be brought up is the situation with General Flynn endorsing you or not endorsing you. Can you explain this situation? Was there a formal endorsement, a repost, or is there anything that's been misrepresented?
Yeah. I texted Mike, because we're friends. I said, hey, man, I'm running for governor. He's like, great. I said, I'd love an endorsement. I didn't hear back from him, which is not uncommon. He's busy. Until I saw something on social media where he said all kind of nice things. Victor Marx would be the great, wow, he did it. He just threw it up on social media. So we took that. I took it as an endorsement because it is. We put it up on our website, and I thanked him. I reposted it and said, thank you. No issues, none, until these folks who are after me, they write him or his team. They send his team an email saying, did you endorse Victor? And then list out all this craziness. That was their job. And then they came back and said, whoa, well, we didn't give him an official endorsement. Mike did just as a friend, but not an official endorsement. So they put that online and all that. So you know what we did? We pulled it down. We said, oh, okay, not a big deal. I got people in this room that serve with Mike in operations that call him. It's not that big of a deal. He said what he said. That's an endorsement.
This next question is, there's also allegations that you or people connected to your campaign used bots or coordinated attacks against other candidates. What's your response to that?
Never happened. Yeah, and you know why? Because everybody they claimed was a bot started showing up to rallies and saying, I'm a bot. And that became a joke. We have a movement of thousands of people. I can't explain it. We're breaking records except to say people are tired of what's going on in Colorado. They want change.
You appeared on Sean Ryan's podcast. What did that process look like for you to get on his show?
They contacted me. They obviously do vetting. They did for several months. I agreed to come on, shared my story. As Sean Ryan said, it was the most impacting episode specific to forgiveness. It said it changed his life forever. It let him out of a prison.
Well, I asked that question and finishing up those questions on the gubernatorial race because I want to encourage anybody out there that wants to get to know you better to go listen to those interviews with Sean Ryan. But moving and shifting gears again to ATP, operations and claims surrounding your ministry, your nonprofit. For people who don't fully understand it, what exactly is ATP and what does your organization do at a high level?
Yeah, it's about 22 years old. My wife and I started it when we were at Focus on the Family, James Dobson, where I was an assistant to the doc. And we started it reaching kids who were incarcerated. That was our focus, and we did that for over a decade. Traveled the country, youth prison to youth prison, halfway homes. That was our focus, to love on kids who had been forgotten about, kind of like Pinocchio, when they took the kids and brought them away. And I have a binder runner where we have over 6,000 letters from kids. We did that for years. Handwritten letters, because kids didn't like form letters or typed. So we handwrite these kids. It's still something we do. People think look, when I'm doing stuff in the Middle East, I go to youth prisons. I was the first American to visit a youth prison in Iraq. And they'd had ISIS kids in there, teenagers that, I'm like, man, I ain't turning that down. So we still do youth prison work, but we expanded what we do to help in a humanitarian way people who were affected by war, specific terrorism. Wow, somebody told me the other day, this blew my mind. They just said, hey, some of the younger people don't know who ISIS is. And I was like, wow, we have to, do we call them Al-Qaeda or just say terrorist group or, So, man, that was impactful. Us getting into helping rescue, recover, that was by accident. We only went there to help traumatized victims. And it wasn't until my wife is talking with a young girl, we used to have the picture, the girl kept looking at my wife's watch. I'll never forget this. And Eileen goes, and this is a girl who had been held captive. She was free, but they were messed up. The suicide rate was high among girls Because there in that culture, if you're raped, they'd rather die than live with the shame. And the girl's looking at Eileen's watch, and Eileen goes, "Do you like my watch?" She goes, "Yes." Eileen took her watch off and gave it to her. And I'm like, I gave you that watch. Like, if she needs a watch, I'll go down to the market, babe. But that's Eileen's heart. Because of that single act, this girl told my wife, she goes, "I know y'all care about our sisters," meaning all the girls who are still held captive. And she goes, "When I got free and was running out of the building, I grabbed the emir's iPhone, one of the ISIS commander's iPhone. She goes, 'Do you want it?' I had team members around me who were special operations dudes, intel. They sat up, and I said, yes. All she asked was that we give her a replacement phone. We took that phone. It ended up in Langley. And there was a lot of information, I was told, that helped with further operations against bad guys. That's when we started getting invited in. And look, providing solutions to very difficult, complex problems of rescuing women and children or facilitating it, we didn't strike out to do that. It just happened. And then it happened so much, and it was so effective because people trusted us. And we built networks out. And I remember when I tried to take a doggone break from it all. We were in Costa Rica in my brother's, one of his places. And we didn't make it a week. I was supposed to stay there a few weeks and kind of get my head together. It was pretty stressful. We got an encrypted message that said there are 22 or 23 women and children that it's a possibility to get them set free. Would I be willing to come back to Iraq and help facilitate it? And I looked at my wife and I said, "Babe, I know we're supposed to be taking a bunch of time off here." And she goes, I'll never forget, she goes, "It's souls, honey. Go get them." And I did. I left. So, the question everybody asks, and I may be rushing to it, but people say you never rescued 45,000 women and children.
That's the next question.
Right.
45,000 has been a huge number that continues to be brought up. Could you please clarify what that number represents?
Yes.
Is that rescued, saved, served, or something else?
And I'm going to ask you to, have either one of you ever read that I said I rescued 45,000 women and children, or heard me say it in a video or in writing? And I'm asking y'all a question.
I don't remember the words you said whenever I watched, just recently, you watched with my buddy Rob from McDojo
Yeah.
Life. He mentioned that SHOT Show. You said that 45,000 number in the interview.
To date, we've helped over 45,000 women and children recover from trauma.
I think it was helped them recover. I think that's what you said.
That's a big difference between rescue and trauma relief. This is always a statement that we've made in writing in person. We have helped over 45,000 women and children who've been affected by terrorism, either by trauma relief or, at times, rescues, physical kinetic rescues. Never have we claimed that. Why? One, that would put a bigger target on my back. And when people ask, what is the number? I say, you'll never find out. There are people that want to kill us for doing what we do. And I'll tell both of you right now, it's way more than 45,000. I stopped at that number years ago.
How are you quantifying that?
Well, you start with the IDP camps, where there's 11 million people displaced from different countries. We go in there, we help them with Lion and Lamb trauma kits. We help with medical, we help with dignity kits. Our mission statement is to help set captives free physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And when you're helping people in large numbers like that, you will hear people say, my sister was taken, and here's the last place we know. And then that's how a physical aspect of that, would happen.
So that number, $45,000, 45,000 individuals, whenever that is being stated, is there any documentation or third-party verification that ATP will use for quantifying, or is that internal reporting that you're quantifying?
It's internal reporting documented by videos. If people will just go through our videos, it's documented. We have over a decade of this. Helping that many is not hard. When you go in somewhere to provide relief or trauma care or food, it's not hard to help that many victims.
Another question here on your operations is, and this is question 16, we're almost done.
Okay.
When you're conducting high-risk international work, how are operations handled from a logistics standpoint? Do you bring equipment or do you source it in country?
We do bring equipment, but never weapons.
What are the safeguards in place to ensure that everything's handled legally and appropriately?
We abide by the law, federal law, international law. We've never, I don't want to use that word, but I can say this: we do not break the law regarding import-export of weapons, ever. I couldn't have a relationship with, I have an FFL. We're so open with agencies, they know when we're coming and going. It's not, we don't hide and spooky sneak nothing.
This last question is going to be regarding the finances, because there's been a lot of financial claims and controversies that have been circulating around ATP. There are claims that your organization operates more like a self-enriching system than a nonprofit. How are you personally compensated, and how are funds actually distributed?
Yeah. My compensation plan has always been set by our board of directors. That's who oversees it. I can't set it, I don't do it. They use it for what's standard in the industry, plus what we would call hazard pay, where I have to, normal pay is not going to help me buy an armored vehicle, or security measures that we have to take. So with that, that's how I'm compensated. You can't just write a check out. We got a board. All of our information is available through 990's reporting. We don't hide anything. We've had the standard of, through the Evangelical Council of Financial Accountability, we've set the gold standard for that. 1 year, there was a year where our operations were lower than our admin, but that was before we had to do an amendment to it because it was not calculated right by, they go categorizing things. So that was switched, and the organization that put that out never amended theirs. I go, well, ours is amended. They've kept that out there, and we go, I don't care.
What's that organization called? Is it a website? Is it publicly accessible?
I think it's Ministry Watch or something. That it's the only folks out there that had a 1 year that our admin was higher than our operations, and we've contacted them. We said, our reporting had to be amended because it was incorrect due to inappropriate categorizing. So, but they never adjusted on theirs.
So if people want to learn how the financial component of ATP works, where would they best be informed?
IRS, 990s. Okay. Go right there. It's open. There's
How many people sit on the board, Victor?
we standardly have about 5, and right now no family members are on the board. We've always kept our ratio. Sir?
Nepotism.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No. If we would have broken any rules that were bad, we would have been busted already. We do an independent financial forensic audit every year by a third party. Every year.
Okay. So moving on to your personal family life, your credibility, and this is condensed, and we're going to go quickly.
What number are we at? Because
This is 18.
Is he here?
he is here.
Okay. Hey, 2 more.
Okay.
But please.
Your personal story and relationships have been heavily questioned. Can you address these directly? Can you walk us through your upbringing, your relationships, your stepfather, your biological father, including reconciliation? Much of this is on Sean Ryan. What we really need to know is when people are asking for credibility on your story, your upbringing, as tragic as it may be, to have somebody who's been abused ask for proof of your abuser. I want to specifically focus, as we're going quickly through these questions, that you've given and painted a picture of your upbringing and your struggles through your personal life, whether that be family, whether that be with your family now, your family in the past. But you've spoken about God healing you. Can you explain what that means, when that happened, and how that impacted your life?
I won't be able to do it because we're time limited right now, but I wrote a book about it. There's a documentary that has almost 1 million views called The Victor Marx Story. It is in 15 languages. You'll see family members on there. You'll see my biological dad who got on there before he died. You'll hear stuff from my sister that corroborates everything I said. But I won't try to prove to people that I was raped as a kid or tortured. I've done my part to come out and share. And look, I get emotional not because I have pain for my past, but I feel bad for all the kids and all the people that struggle, even the adults that go, hell, if they put them through this, I'll never come out and tell people I was abused. 1 in 3 girls is abused and 1 in 5 boys. But I did it because it started making a difference in people's lives. That's why I do it. They don't want to believe me. I don't care.
I want to echo that as well. I'm here to be impartial. We're asking questions. We want to dig into it for the constituency, right? But that's one thing that you and I can look eye to eye on that I agree with. Hands down, unequivocally.
Yep.
It is one of the hardest things that a man can go through. Hands down.
We had in here question 19 was military and credentials. We'll show the documents that you brought so that we don't have to answer these questions.
I will say this to the point of Candace or anybody else questioning my. This is where the laziness of people who are so-called journalists. Candace said, without a doubt, we have proof that he only served 2 years. Candace, it's a 3-year it's a 3-minute. It's in my DD 214. Did y'all not even just look at it? That's the second thing she's so discredited by. It's so easy. It's like other people that started websites. This stuff is, he was never in the Marines. I had to pull out my DD 214 again. Maybe I'm a little stubborn going, folks, give me a break. It's a small group that is bent, like Corey Kennedy's one of them. I'll say her name. She started this, her and Dorsey. Corey works as a marketing person for green energy, solar. They don't want me to be elected as governor. That's where you track the motivation. She's a woman that stood up at an event and said, I hate you. I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, you're lying, you're hiding. I'm like, come on up here, ma'am. You can have the mic. Tell me what I'm lying about. Charlie Kirk was never your mentor. And somebody goes, it's on video. Charlie, during an interview, you see Charlie saying, my friend and mentor. Spiritual mentor. So you got to look to the source of these. That's why I think we give too much credibility to people who simply aren't credible. And the Marine Corps deal is one of them. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, we're going to show those documents. We're also going to talk about your black belt. We'll show the documents on your system. We'll show all that. But important point of clarification for people is Candace referred to you as Pastor Victor Marx multiple times. Are you currently a pastor? Have you ever been a pastor?
I started out trying to be a pastor. I mean, I was an assistant pastor at I did my best. I worked with youth, and I thought we could start a church down in Louisiana. I did my best. I just wasn't good at pastoring. I'm a lot better at evangelism. I'm a lot better at kind of getting out there. So when people refer to me as a pastor, I am not. I'm an ordained minister. I'm a ministry leader, but I'm not a pastor.
This is the 20th question to close us out here.
We got it.
We rapid fire through a lot, but this is the 20th question. For people watching this, trying to sort through all of this, what are the top 2 to 3 pieces of evidence you would point to most clearly represent the truth about you and yourself and your story?
People are always the best source of that's what they use in the court of law, witnesses. You can have documentation, but let me tell you, I got a man sitting right here with the years in special operations and the respect and the level of clearance he still has. I've surrounded myself with men and women. The G3 at the Pentagon is a dear close friend, the man in charge of all of operations for the U.S. Army, all operations. I've surrounded myself by men and women of integrity. Do you think that somehow I have fooled all of them? Absolutely not. It's people who prove your credibility. Just like when somebody says, oh yeah, I worked in, special forces. What group? 10th, great. If you're going to do a background check, you're calling and finding out people. How was he? Oh, he's a bag. This guy was no good. He washed out, blah, 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 right? So the same way with us. If people want to know if I've affected people, man, That's what makes a difference for me. People through all the years. Another thing is my wife. Nobody knows me better than 37 years. So when people challenge my character, they're challenging her integrity. And that's where I want to throat punch people to go, you know what? Say all you want about me. My wife, she's been with me through heaven and hell. Don't question her. And, you know, I'll add one more piece to it because it's out there. People say I enriched myself with selling a property to the ministry. I've not told this to anybody, but I'm going to tell y'all because it's personal. I believe if you do things quietly, God will reward you for it, especially in heaven. It says don't let your right hand know what your left is doing. And there are things that me and my wife do I don't want anybody to know. But when I sold this property, which was ours, but the ministry, we built it out because it was the cheapest way to do training, and it became an unbelievable complex. Y'all see it. A separate home, 2 addresses, a training center, a shoot house. We're in a studio. You've been in the ops center. All of that has been built on this property. So when people go, you bought your house for this, but you sold it for this much. Yeah, because this was the value. This is what it was praised about, not a county value. But what people don't know is that the price we sold the ministry, our property, our home we were supposed to retire in, we gave a 7-figure check. We gave 7 figures back to the ministry, which dropped in our negotiation. It dropped the price so stinking low, and we're going to put it on a website. We never wanted to tell people that. We never wanted to say that. And we kept quiet for 6 months. And said, you know, we do things in secret, just like people go, well, we want to see the kids growing up you rescued. Fine, get you out of Iraq. I'll tell you, there's places they go. You go look them in the face. But I'm not doing your homework for you. So, look, this whole thing is all about the governorship. We were never attacked like this before. And if I would have run for governor, none of this would be an issue. They're trying to stop me. The deal is, it's this simple. Either God's ordained me to be the governor or he hasn't. I'm not worried one bit. I don't fret over none of this. I'm just me. I'll continue to move in integrity and honesty. If the people elect me, I'll do the best job I can for 4 years and hopefully get out of it. I don't want to do 8. I want to be a grandpa. But thank y'all for taking the time. I respect both of you. We haven't agreed on every point in the past, but I appreciate y'all. And I've watched y'all. That's why I'm giving you time. There's radio stations, podcasts, media that are, man, they're dying. They're cussing me out because I won't give them a time. And I go, I won't. You reap what you sow. I'll sit down with people who are respectful. They don't even have to agree with me, but they're intellectually honest. I'm about to do an interview with a PBS. Yeah. And I'll answer any question people give me like I did for y'all. But I think y'all moved the needle ahead a big way today because let people make their choice based on informed decisions. And that's it.
Right. There's wisdom in trusting but verifying, and we thank you for giving us an opportunity to sit down with you and ask these questions and hopefully inform people out there. This is a little bit outside of our normal format, and we always like to end the show, as you know, with prayer and pointing people back to Jesus, because all these questions, any imperfection that exists at all doesn't matter. What really matters is Jesus, and so we would close out with encouraging people to seek him today, and we'll close out with a word of prayer. And if you have anything else that you'd like to say in closing, I'd invite you to say the prayer in closing today. And I'll turn it over to you to close us out unless you have anything else here, sir.
Well, I do want to say thank you for the time. I've said repeatedly from my truck videos and on the podcast, you've been nothing but professional, nothing but kind. Even when you crossed the line at the assembly, which I really enjoyed, I got a good chuckle out of it. All of a sudden, you just broke from your group and you were on my 6.
Yeah.
And the conversation was private between you and I, and I've said that from day one, and I'm going to leave it there. But at the end of the day, I've never said anything but that because it's never been anything but that. And that's really, really important, I think, for people to understand. And you said it a second ago, we've not always agreed on things. I'm not sure that we actually really disagree on a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the reason I came here today was not just the podcast. It was truly for the constituency. It was for the questions that people are asking. And whether I believe half this garbage that is in here to be true or not, it's a questions floating out there, and it's created a lot of division in the party. And what the biggest thing that I want to see come out of this is that Colorado as a whole, and I mean everybody, all 6 million people, collectively can come together and have a better Colorado than what we've had over the last 8 years. And it's an absolute train wreck. So I would like to see unity in the party.
Yes.
I realize that I'm acquainted with people that you don't get along with and they don't get along with you, but I still look at everybody the same. I'm going to give everybody that same shot. So I want to thank you very personally from me to you. It means a lot that you invited us down here.
I appreciate your friendship, both of you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Let me pray. Lord, thank you. And we ask that, God, you would just do what you want to do with this state. I know you don't like the evil that's being done, but God, I just pray, Lord, like Mike has said, there be unity. Coloradans, whether left, right, or middle, Lord, faith, no faith, different faith, that we come together knowing unity is better. When natural disasters strike, when terrorism hits, when criminals want to hurt and abuse folks, Lord, we all get together and agree on the main things, that safety, affordable living, where people just want to put a roof over each other's heads and the loved ones. It's all the basics that matter. So God, we pray we would be able to have unity. And Lord, just crush the lies and the allegations that are false. And Lord, things that are true, bring them to light. Keep shining the light. But give people courage to have discernment and to step up. And like these two men, ask the hard questions, Lord, to get right answers. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And
Thank you again, sir.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, guys. So as we discussed on the episode, Victor has been generous to provide lots of receipts for us to be able to take a look at and show you. This is just some of them. Here is a letter of appreciation from Congress, appreciating him for his work in all things possible ministries. Here's a certificate showing the nonprofit status and some other awards here. But then we also have a lot of documents over here that we're just going to pan through, talk about briefly, and just show you. Let's make sure that you can actually see what this is, and this is not just us, having the wool pulled over our eyes. This is a legitimate document. So is everything else that's on the table here. And if you want to read it for yourself, there you go. There's a video. And here we have. Is this where his DD-214
no,
is?
this is
okay.
is the legacy of the Marine Corps and everything in it.
This is like his yearbook of being in the Marines, right? Is that what it is? That's pretty weathered.
Yeah, he said it's ratty, tatted, and torn.
So it has a lot of info. He had pulled it up earlier and showed us some pictures showing himself. Oh,
Mark it.
there we go. Yeah, it might have been marked there. I don't know. No, I don't know what that is. But he's in here.
I looked at the pictures.
Yeah, we saw the pictures. It's probably not really worth our time. Oh, here we go. Here we go. He's right here. You see? There he is. Okay. And then there's another photo in there of him with a platoon or whatever it's called. I'm not a military man, in case you didn't know that. I'm pretty sure it's called a platoon. Is that right? That's a military man. Is it a platoon?
Depends on the size of the element.
Okay. Oh.
Just say company.
We can start. He did point out on this picture that this back here, I think he said, was him. Was his DD-214 in there?
I've got
Or-
it. I'll just do that.
Oh, cool. Okay. DD-214. That's important because that's going to show from what Victor said, 3 years of service, not 2 years of service.
Come over here and get his graduation date, everything else.
So that was really
That's
discussing.
more like personal.
This
Yeah.
book to me, well,
That's
the
like-
reason he shared this, the thing I loved about it is he kept all his notes from his personal growth through martial arts. And the irony is I did the exact same thing. We got to share that story back and forth. I'm not going to open this and showcase it to the world, but this is, I've read it. It's in his writing. We had an offline discussion about it. It is the exact same thing I did in Nishinru. Was actually very impressed with this. This is the start of his journey.
That's also what I recommend jiu-jitsu students. If you're one of my students and you're not doing this, you better start doing it soon. You're supposed to take notes. That's how you come to class and learn. You actually take it seriously and you learn. And I've got notes from jiu-jitsu when I first started dating up to very recently. I still will take notes on occasion. So that book to me really speaks to a man who's taken his martial arts journey seriously. And we have his black belt here, but we also have this book. And this book is showcasing his father's martial arts background, history, and also the entire system that was developed by Victor Marx's biological father. And it's a lot of stuff in here. This is just a very detailed capture of the history of this system that was developed. And these are cards with detailed information on how to progress through the different belts within the system. And I'm thoroughly convinced that this is a system that has been actually developed over time and has been effective. And here's the thing, this is like a mixed martial art, right? And I think that just like anybody in America, if you want to build a business for yourself and you want to stand out and you want to build a legacy, then you usually will go out and you'll do that yourself. You don't sometimes just want to piggyback on other martial arts, and you want to differentiate yourself and be able to stand out to your competition. But as you can see here, they mixed karate, kung fu, judo, and jiu-jitsu into this system. And me and Victor actually got on the mat a little bit earlier, and he was showing some takedowns on me. He threw me pretty hard. It was kind of fun, so that was cool. But this is just to show you guys, Victor was very generous with his time, and he definitely didn't owe this to us or to anybody for that matter, but the questions have been circulating, and he's definitely brought receipts. And if it's okay, we're going to show some pictures in the Ops Center with the photos on the wall, just to show people some pictures with a lot of important history on ATP and the work that's been done. But this is really, in my opinion, more than what many should need to be able to show that you better really do a lot of research before you just believe what somebody says on the internet.
I agree. I'd close it out with the reason we're here. We stated it in the interview with Victor. This is for the constituencies, for the people asking the questions. Victor was very gracious today. He opened up his doors, spent hours with us today. And full disclosure, we had a long conversation before we even went shooting, and very honorable. Really appreciated the time.
Absolutely. Just so you don't forget where that stuff goes. All right.
All right. Should be good. Thank you, Dan.
That's just a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Sean.
Okay.
We'll just shoot
Yeah.
that
my
wall
thought
in the
is-
Ops Center.
Do you want to get slow?
Yeah.
Do you want to shoot this one first and I'll clean the glass?
Okay.
Here's your key before I forget.
Oh, important.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere without it, so.
Horizontal.
No, I rode with him.
If you've enjoyed this episode, I invite you to please share it with a friend. Leave a like, a comment. Please subscribe and follow. We appreciate your support. I want to state that my thoughts and prayers go out to Candace as well as Corby. I'm thankful that Corby seems to be doing better as he is continuing to turn to Scripture and find encouragement in the only source of true truth that we know in this world, and that is the Word of God. That is Jesus Christ. And I want to point everyone out there to exactly that. I want to make sure everybody understands that we decided not to go into the operation center at Victor's compound and video the wall. There's pictures all around the wall with kids and missions and rescues, and we decided to just not do that part, to leave some of those kids' faces out of this episode. You can go and look at Victor's social media, and if you go back years and years, you will find that through his ministry, All Things Possible, they've been doing work overseas in numerous countries. Victor went so far as to get out his passport in front of us and show us his passport that is filled with locations that he has personally been. And I just want to make sure to state my position on all of this. That is, I believe that Victor is telling the truth. I believe that Corby is quite possibly telling a version of the truth that he thinks is true. But we all know that there is not only two sides, there's the truth, and then the actual truth. And the whole point of this episode is to get information out there that there's enough division in this world. And if we can put aside our differences and we can unite over what matters most, then I truly believe that there's hope to be found. And ultimately, there's hope to be found in truth that is only found in the Word of God and in Jesus Christ. So I just want to encourage everyone out there to seek Him today, seek Jesus, and I know that you will find Him if you seek Him. We want to thank Victor and his team again for graciously spending a generous amount of time with us to be able to produce this episode. And we want to thank him for all the time that he spent with us even before this episode. This week, we will be releasing the Shoot and Pod episode with Victor Marx, the first of the gubernatorial shootout series. That will be releasing this coming Thursday. So stay tuned for that. We had some fun with Victor on the range, and we asked some important questions in that segment as well. We are doing our best to just inform the constituents across the state of Colorado, not only on Victor Marx, but also on the other candidates. We have another episode scheduled with Scott Bottoms coming up here this month, and we encourage you to tune into that. And stay tuned as we continue to interview candidates and do our best to get information out there and let people be able to ultimately make informed decisions as we do everything we can to just put the truth front and center. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.